There's a moment most men completely misunderstand, a moment that, on the surface, looks like weakness, feels like loss, and hits like failure. It's the moment you cut her off, not with anger, not with dramatic outbursts, not to punish, provoke, or get a reaction, but quietly, cleanly, with unbreakable self-respect. And here's the hard truth almost no one tells you. That moment isn't when you lose power. It's when regret begins on her side. Most men get this entirely wrong. They believe regret comes from big arguments, long explanations, emotional speeches, or proving how much she meant to you. They think regret is born from pain, guilt trips, or one final confrontation where you make her see. So they talk, they explain, they beg to be understood one last time. But regret doesn't come from words. Regret comes from absence, combined with clarity. When you cut her off the right way, calmly, without hostility, without begging, without drama, something powerful happens psychologically that no argument could ever trigger. You remove access, you remove reassurance, you remove emotional availability. That silence lands differently because now she's no longer reacting to your emotions. She's forced to face her own. As long as you stay available, even if you're hurting, she never has to fully feel the consequences of her choices. Your presence acts like a cushion, softening the emotional blow. Your explanations soften the harsh reality. Your continued attention quietly whispers, "I'm still here if you change your mind." But the second you cut her off for real, that cushion vanishes. Suddenly, there's space. And in that space, the mind does something dangerous. It starts replaying. Not the fights, not the bad times, but the good ones. Not the reasons she walked away, but the feelings she lost. Not your flaws, but your absence. This is where real regret begins. Not because she suddenly loves you again, not because she panics immediately, but because you're no longer there to confirm her decision was right. That uncertainty eats at her. She starts asking the questions she avoided. She feels the emotional gap you once filled without effort. She compares the silence she's living in now to the connection she once took for granted. And the most powerful part? You didn't say a single word. No arguing, no chasing, no proving your worth. You simply removed yourself from a dynamic that no longer respected you. That single act sends a message deeper than any confrontation ever could. I know my value. I don't need you to validate it. In this video, we're breaking down exactly why cutting her off triggers regret, what happens in her psychology when access disappears, and why the men who walk away cleanly are the ones women remember for years. This isn't revenge, this isn't manipulation, this is natural consequence. If you've ever wondered why silence hits harder than words, or why some men become unforgettable the moment they leave, stick around. Because the moment you cut her off is the moment everything changes. Before we dive deeper, a quick reminder. Transformation doesn't happen by watching videos alone. It happens inside a committed community of men who are actually doing the work. If these videos have already opened your eyes to attraction, emotional control, and self-respect, imagine what the full system inside the community can do for your mindset and your life. This isn't just another course. It's a brotherhood, a private space where men master the psychology of power, discipline, attraction, and purpose. You don't join for a month. You join for life. Every future course, lesson, book, and update is yours forever. No subscriptions, no limits. One decision to level up permanently. If you're serious about growth, discipline, and becoming the man who never settles again, click the link in the description. Join the community. Enroll once. Grow forever. And while you're here, if this message already hits home, smash that like button. Drop a comment with the word silence if you agree. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next video that could change how you handle relationships. Your support keeps this channel alive. Let's get into it. Section 1. Why access is more valuable than attention. Most men confuse attention with value, and that's exactly why cutting someone off feels so wrong at first. Attention feels powerful because it's visible. Texts, calls, effort, presence. It feels like you're doing something, but psychologically, attention is cheap when access is unlimited. What truly carries weight in the human mind is access, Because access controls what's available and what isn't. As long as she has unlimited access to you, your attention loses all scarcity and impact. She can reach you whenever she wants. She can check your emotional state. She can reassure herself you're still orbiting her, even if she's emotionally checked out. Your availability becomes her safety net. It protects her from the full weight of her decisions. No urgency, no deep reflection, no regret. Regret requires contrast. It requires absence. It requires the mind to feel the difference between before and after. When you keep offering access, even in small amounts, you block that contrast forever. You stay present enough to soften the loss even after the relationship ends. Access is personal, specific, irreplaceable. Attention can be found anywhere. Access is entry into your world, your time, your life. When access is removed, calmly, without drama or explanation, the mind is forced to adjust to a brutal new reality. That adjustment is uncomfortable, and discomfort sparks real reflection. This is why proper no contact creates such a strong response. You're not trying to be noticed, not trying to be missed. You're simply removing availability. At first, she might feel relief, no tension, no emotional responsibility. But relief fades once the nervous system calms. The mind scans for what's missing. And what's missing isn't your words or effort, it's your presence. Comparison kicks in. She compares how she feels now to how she felt with access. Silence versus familiarity. Absence versus connection. Comparison is the birthplace of regret. Men who never fully cut access, lingering, staying reachable, emotionally open in the background, protect her from ever missing them deeply. A man who understands psychology does the opposite. He removes access cleanly, without anger, announcements, explanations, or justifications. He chooses himself and moves forward. That decision communicates self-respect at a level words can't touch. It signals access to me is earned, not guaranteed. People rarely regret what they can still reach. They regret what they can no longer touch. Section 2. What happens in her mind when you disappear without drama? When you disappear without drama, confrontation, or explanations, her mind enters a state it hates. Unresolved uncertainty. People handle conflict, even pain, better when there's a story they can control. What they can't handle is silence with no narrative, no reassurance, no feedback. At first, she rationalizes it was necessary. Things weren't right. I made the right call. The ego protects itself from doubt. As long as you're even slightly available, that story holds. But clean disappearance destabilizes everything. No more messages to analyze, no reactions to interpret, no tone to decode. The mind loses its reference point. Certainty cracks, rumination begins. She replays interactions, not for pain, but for clarity. Revisits moments she dismissed, compares how she felt with you to how she feels now. This isn't nostalgia yet, it's discomfort. Discomfort from not knowing if she made the right decision. Discomfort from seeing you didn't chase. Discomfort from realizing access wasn't permanent. The lack of drama makes it even more powerful. Drama validates importance. Reactions confirm impact. Remove both, and the mind asks the killer question, why didn't he fight for me? That flips the internal dynamic. Instead of you seeking validation, she starts seeking answers in herself. Instead of you proving value, she reassesses it. Regret forms quietly here. Another effect, identity disruption. You played a role in her emotional world. Familiarity, grounding. When you vanish, that role disappears. The mind hates gaps, so it reevaluates what was lost. This is why regret often hits weeks or even months later. Initial relief fades. Silence settles. Absence registers fully. Men who leave angry or over-explaining kill this effect. Anger keeps ties alive. Explanations give closure. Both hand her something external to resolve. Calm disappearance gives nothing. Everything processes internally. And internal processing is where regret grows, because you can't argue with absence. You can only feel it. Section 3. Why explaining yourself prevents regret from forming. Explaining feels fair, mature, like proper closure. Most men think, If I just tell her how I feel, why I'm hurt, what went wrong, she'll finally understand. But explanations do the opposite of what you want. They relieve her pressure, give emotional certainty. You hand her a neat story she can organize, justify, and close. Even if painful, it lets her mind loop shut. Closed loops leave no room for regret. Regret thrives on ambiguity, on unanswered questions, on space that demands reflection. When you explain, you remove that space. You tell her why you're leaving, what you wanted, how you felt. She can say, I understand, I saw it coming, makes sense. Even guilt becomes manageable when it's defined. No explanation, no clean ending, no final conversation, no summary. The story stays unfinished. And unfinished stories demand attention. Silence forces reflection. Expression allows resolution. Explaining also keeps you emotionally present. You're still helping her process the end, easing her transition, protecting her from full loss. Men explain to be remembered clearly, as good, reasonable, loving. But psychology rewards being felt deeply, not remembered neatly. Feelings come from absence, not explanations. When you don't explain, her mind fills the gaps. What did he really feel? Did I underestimate him? Did I miss signs of his value? That internal dialogue keeps your memory alive. Explaining subtly lowers your position. It signals you still need understanding or agreement. Silence, chosen calmly, signals. I don't need any of that. My decision stands. Confidence unsettles someone who thought they had leverage. Explanations aren't wrong in healthy dynamics, but when respect is gone, explanations serve her more than you. They offer closure where consequence is needed. A man who gets this doesn't overshare at the end, doesn't argue his worth, doesn't control perception. He removes himself and lets reality speak. Reality without cushioning is far more powerful than any explanation. Section 4. Why regret always arrives late, not immediately. Regret rarely hits right away. And that's where most men give up. They expect instant messages, emotional breakdowns, sudden realizations. When nothing happens, they think, it didn't work. Wrong. No immediate reaction means the process is just starting. The mind protects itself at first. Relief kicks in. Relief from tension, responsibility, effort. She feels lighter, free, certain she did the right thing. Relief is emotional anesthesia, temporary. Once time passes and baseline returns, absence becomes real. No messages, no updates, no cues. Connection isn't in the background anymore, it's gone. Comparison turns against her. Present you versus now. Consistency you gave versus current unpredictability. Familiarity versus uncertainty. Regret comes from realizing something meaningful was removed, without protest. The mind struggles when core assumptions die, like he'd always be there if I wanted. Regret arrives late because it requires identity recalibration. You were part of her emotional identity, someone stable to return to. Full disappearance collapses that, and the mind resists identity loss more than pain. Regret surfaces unexpectedly. Late nights, quiet moments, when she reaches for familiarity and finds nothing. Men watching for instant regret miss it. Immediate reactions are ego-driven. Real regret is reflection plus loss. Reflection requires time without interference. Break the silence to check in, and you bring relief back. You soften contrast. You delay reckoning. A man who understands doesn't monitor her, doesn't wait for signs. He measures by his alignment. Regret doesn't need triggering, it needs allowing. Section 5. Why cutting her off reverses the power dynamic completely. Power isn't about who dominates or speaks last. Power is about who's less dependent on the outcome. Before you walk away, power often sits with the less invested person. But as long as you're available, checking in, explaining, leaving doors cracked, she has certainty. She knows where you stand. She can reach you. That certainty is leverage. Cut her off cleanly. No anger, no explanation. That certainty vanishes. She doesn't know how you feel. If you miss her, if the door is open, the mind hates uncertainty, power reverses, you stop wondering what she's thinking. She wonders about you. You stop waiting for cues. She gets none. You stop seeking validation. She lacks it. This isn't strategy. It's finality without hostility. No announcement, no negotiation, no reassurance, no lingering. What remains? Absence. Absence forces loss without cushioning. You stop seeking approval. Reclaim authorship over your life. Stop reacting to her. Act on your boundaries. That self-alignment radiates even from afar. People sense detachment with clarity versus resentment. Self-respect unsettles more than anger. Anger seeks engagement. Calm cutoff says, I don't need this to validate me. It disrupts her narrative, challenges assumptions, introduces doubt. I misjudged his value. That triggers delayed curiosity, outreach, resurfacing, not manipulation, but reassessment from predictable to unknown. The real win? Your side. You control attention, time, energy. Stop orbiting her decisions. Stop waiting. Stop defining yourself by her response. Internal power forces external change. Section 6. The one mistake that destroys regret after you walk away. The biggest mistake? Re-entering before the process completes. It's subtle, emotional, common. Doubt, nostalgia, curiosity creep in. You break absence quietly and collapse everything silence built. Absence creates contrast, reflection, reassessment, regret. Break it early, contrast gone. Relief returns. Relief kills regret. Check in just to see. Respond too fast to a late message. Offer warmth before effort. You restore familiarity, safety, cushioning. Discomfort vanishes. Reflection stops. Other versions exist. Emotional availability without boundaries. Distant physically but open emotionally. Listening, reassuring. Long talks. She gets benefits without facing loss. Regret dissolves. Regret survives only with full consequence. No access, no familiarity, no certainty. This doesn't mean ignoring forever or punishing. It means not abandoning your boundary until alignment returns. If she reaches out, observe quality of effort, not the fact she reached. Curiosity, commitment, nostalgia, accountability, comfort seeking. Don't reward weakness with full access. Wait for consistency, clarity, intention over time. Most men think regret means instant reconciliation. Wrong. Regret is a window. A window leads somewhere only if met with self-respect, not urgency. Walking away creates the conditions for regret. Staying aligned decides if it becomes real or fades. Final truth. The moment you cut her off isn't loss. It's truth. You stop participating in disrespect. Regret doesn't come from words or speeches. It comes from absence plus clarity. A calm walk away removes access, certainty, and cushioning at once. It forces reflection where comfort once was. What happens next? Out of your control. That's where your power lies. If she reflects and steps up with real consistency, accountability, and intention, you meet her from strength, not desperation. If not, you move forward without self-betrayal. The biggest mistake? Thinking this is about her reaction. It's about your alignment. Walking away isn't to make her regret losing you. It's to stop you from losing yourself. When you no longer need to be chosen, you become unforgettable. If this hit deep, drop in the comments. Do you believe silence is more powerful than explanation? Knowledge without action is worthless. If you're ready to rise above emotion, lead with purpose, and build unbreakable self-respect, join the community today. Link in description. Enroll once, grow forever. Hit like if this resonated. Subscribe for more mindset-shifting content. Turn on the bell. Share this with any man who needs to hear it. Your growth starts now. Let's go.